agent you have is a know-it-all. But I got to tell you, I have learned over the years now, I had the worst agent. And so we wanted for the New Jersey area to find the top agent in the country. And we found him in Stephen Fromm. And first of all, good afternoon, Stephen.
Good
Stephen there?
afternoon, Steve. How are you doing?
Oh, there you. Listen, I got to tell you, what you do is so important, Stephen. I mean, listen, you know it is, but I know firsthand when you don't have a good agent working with you, that it can cause you all kinds of problems. Remember, it's the government issue, so you know there's all kinds of red tape involved. But Stephen, tell us about your company.
Sure. Well, again, my name is Stephen Fromm. I'm the owner and founder of Fromm Insurance Services, and we specialize in helping seniors educate and understanding Medicare so that they get enrolled properly when the time comes when they're turning 65 to avoid any lifelong penalties. And we just published a Medicare 101 webinar that we'll be sharing with the audience. Matter of fact, I'll send you a copy of it so you can take a look at it.
Oh, good.
We found that it's very informative before having the appointment with the senior to have them watch this webinar, and it really helps them understand our conversation better.
Well, the first portion of the Medicare is now over, and we're going into a new phase of it. It started January the 1st. Explain to people what that is.
Sure. So what you're referring to right now is from January 1st through March 31st is the open election period. And during this period of time, if someone is on a Medicare Advantage plan, maybe they during the annual election period chose a plan that maybe their doctor's not in. It gives them the opportunity to change to another Medicare Advantage plan in their area, as well as during this period of time, if someone wants to go back to original Medicare, they can do that as well and enroll in a Part D prescription drug plan. And then we have to discuss with them enrolling in a Medicare supplemental plan to see if this whole idea makes sense, because since they're outside of their initial election period, they would have to go through underwriting for their Medicare supplemental plan and could be rated and could possibly have to pay a higher premium. So these are all the things that we will uncover during our client needs analysis.
You're pretty busy now, aren't you?
We're doing really good. We have a lot of activity right now with our Facebook leads, with this new webinar I just recorded that just actually went live this morning, and we're really happy for it. And hopefully by the time the next show comes around, I'll have another surprise for you. So I can't give them all at one time. So
let's talk about. Yes. Okay. So we just got our first question in. Mark in Newark wants to know, what's the difference between regular Medicare and the Advantage Medicare?
Sure. And of course, that's always a great question. So when he's referring to regular Medicare, he's talking about original Medicare. So original Medicare, which is your Part A and your Part B, which is your hospital and your doctors. For original Medicare, A and B will cover 80% of the cost. And then you would enroll in a Medicare supplemental plan during your initial election period, which is the 3 months before your birthday, the month of your birthday, and 3 months after. And during that period of time, we would help you enroll in we call it a Medigap plan as well. And what that plan does, it helps pick up the remaining 20% that Part A and B does not cover. And those plans are through individual insurance carriers. And there are different standardized plans that the government offers. Every carrier has to offer the same plan, but the pricing could be different from each carrier to each carrier. And then finally, we help you enroll in a Part D prescription drug plan. And of course, we would do the needs analysis, looking at your drugs, your pharmacy, to make sure that we're going to pick the right plan for you that is going to cover your drugs at the best, most cost effective way. Then you have Medicare Advantage plan, which is also called Part C, and that is a combination of, you have Part A and Part B, as well as your Part D prescription drug plan. In that plan, plus it also will offer some additional benefits such as dental, vision, hearing, and maybe over the counter. The one thing to keep in mind here is that is a managed care plan, whether it be a HMO like yourself or a PPO. That is a managed care plan, meaning that the doctors have to be in network. We check your drugs, your pharmacy. It makes a big difference because being a managed care plan, being the network, there are some restrictions as compared with original Medicare. There are no referrals needed. You can go see any doctor in all 50 states that takes Medicare, versus managed care plan versus the Medicare Advantage plans. Like I said, they're more of an in-network. There's more control with each of those plans.
One of the things I've learned, Stephen, is, you see these national commercials, and first of all, they all sound really good. People, beware, there's a lot more to it. But, versus having an agent like yourself versus calling on these companies, they're just going to tell you about their program only. You represent a lot of companies, so you're able to show them many different plans. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes, that's always been. It's actually, we talk about it in a Medicare 101 webinar. As an individual licensed broker, we are paid by the insurance company. I'm licensed with over 25 companies now, and there is no bias. We will work with the client and educate them and look at the various carriers in their area to get a better idea of which carrier is going to best fit their needs. With these national commercials, for example, there's a lot of enroll in our specific Medicare Advantage plan because it's zero cost. Plus, you'll get these additional benefits. The one thing that's never mentioned when enrolling in these plans, unfortunately, a lot of times, is that there is the possibility of a lot of out-of-pocket costs. And that is the one thing we're working on this year with everyone, is talking about the umbrella, how we want to protect everybody under a larger umbrella to help them avoid any out-of-pocket costs they may incur. There's other different insurance products we discussed because, for example, on a managed care plan, excuse me, there are out-of-pocket costs, could be, in excess of $9,000. And a lot of times, if someone's on a zero premium plan, it's because of budget. So we want to make sure that we educate them on the fact that there is exposure, and we do offer insurance products to help protect them against that exposure. So just trying to make a difference in that way.
I'm going to let our audience in on a little secret. So I work with agents all across the country with this show. Stephen has the New Jersey area. And we started getting a lot of calls in from basically the entire East Coast. And Stephen took over our Florida market, which that show is going to be coming up very soon. But I have felt so good about Stephen that we made a deal. Stephen's got basically the whole eastern part of the United States. So if you've got a family member in Georgia or the Carolinas, Florida, wherever, they can call Stephen or they can go to his website, which we're showing on our YouTube, but we're going to be giving that to all the people who listen on radio. But that's how good I feel about Stephen, because I know I've seen the way he runs his business. And I think customer service, Stephen, is so important. And I feel so good about your company and the way you service your clients.
Well, thank you very much. And that is one thing we stress: customer for life. And when anyone has an opportunity to watch our new webinar, we talk about that. Our goal is to treat you like family. It's very important. We treat you like family. Actually, one of the slides in the presentation is a picture of me and my mom, my 83-year-old mom, who is one of my clients. So who actually will be up here in March. And I already told her she needs to sit in one of
Oh, she's come on the show.
Yep, she's from South Carolina.
Yes.
So I already told her we have a seat reserved for her. So she's like, what am I going to say? I'm like, she's like, what am I going to say? Like, what are you going to say? You're just going to say how much you love Medicare. What else are you going to say?
Yeah. Tell her what a good son she's got.
Yeah, she's a funny lady.
Stephen, what's some of the biggest mistakes people make when they first sign up for Medicare?
Well, one of the first biggest mistakes I can say that some people make is just really not understanding Medicare in itself and the big difference between original Medicare, Medicare Advantage plans, as well as, like I said, we've changed now, and we are doing it under what we call the umbrella approach. And the umbrella approach is educating each senior. We talk about not just on Medicare or Medicare Advantage, as well as, listen, did you know that, under original Medicare, dental, vision, and hearing, that's not a product. We need to talk about how we can help you with that. One of the biggest things we are selling right now is a lot of cancer, heart attack, and stroke plans. With cancer, heart attack, stroke, there are a lot of things that Medicare does not cover, and not necessarily a medical cost, but a cost such as you're out of work, or you need to pay certain bills, or maybe your pet needs to be taken care of, or lodging or traveling. And we have found in those situations, those costs could add up to over $20,000. And we have products. We have products to help them. We have products available to help those folks. And that's making a big difference. A lot of, understanding, wow, I didn't realize that. And if you talk about that, every 1 in 2 men, 1 in 3 women will, have the chance of, being diagnosed with cancer. Most diagnoses happen after the age of 66. It's a great product to talk about. That, as well as skilled nursing, is something we're talking about a lot with people, whether or not they, don't realize that after 100 days, the cost is entirely on you for skilled nursing. And we have products to help protect against that exposure. And that's really been the big difference this year. And only in the beginning of the year is talking to everybody about that. As I say, you don't go in the rain without an umbrella, do you? So kind of the same thing. Don't you want to have an umbrella here to cover all of your health costs? And it's just that constant education, and, really making a positive difference. And we feel really good about that.
Stephen, one of the other things that people are really confused about is they have a policy, and a friend of theirs in the next county over, they don't have anything like that. Why is it different? Why does it vary by state and county?
Well, that's a great question. It's, the carriers now, have designated certain plans for certain states and certain zip codes. So we do have that question come up a lot when I get a phone call and I said, well, my neighbor is enrolled in this plan with XYZ carrier, and he said it really sounds great, so I want to be in the same plan. We have to make sure I speak with that senior and say to them, okay, that's great, but that might not be the best plan for you, number one. And number two, that plan may not be offered in your area. So those are the things we start with. What are your needs, first of all? And it could be a great plan and for that person, but not necessarily for you. So again, those are the things we look at, and in that instance, they're typically they're talking about a Medicare Advantage plan. So again, we want to make sure we do that in-depth needs analysis with your doctors, your hospitals, and your medications. It's very important.
Leave it to the government to try to confuse us even more. What does Medicare not cover that surprises people the most?
Well, first of all, in original Medicare, it's not going to cover dental, vision, and hearing, number one. Number two, as we just talked about the cancer, heart attack, and stroke, there are a lot of cancer drugs that are not covered under Medicare, as well as certain experimental treatments that may not be covered under Medicare. So again, leaving you exposed, and that is why we talk about the cancer, heart attack, stroke. There's a limit for skilled nursing, how many days are covered. And that differs between the original Medicare and Medicare Advantage plan. For example, a Medicare Advantage plan, from day 0 to day 20, it's no cost. But after day 20, there is a cost to that. And again, if you're an original Medicare plan with a 0 premium, most likely it's because of budget constraints. So now if you have to go to skilled nursing and you're there more than 20 days, are you able to afford that $217 a day cost? So those are the different things that we really take a step back and make sure everybody understands, not just this moment of time when you're enrolling in healthcare, but the what if scenario. What if this happens? What if this changes? Because something will change. Are you prepared? And that is really the difference I think that we make. Is, again, I'm not just talking about this moment, but I'm talking about the future too. So that's the difference, things not being covered.
Can someone have Medicare and other insurance at the same time?
So when you say that, there are seniors that are Medicare and Medicaid at the same time, and there are certain dual managed care advantage plans that are available to them that would hopefully provide them with some additional benefits. Again, that is a in-depth needs analysis to understand what their Medicaid is in which state, and making sure they get enrolled properly in Medicare Advantage plan if that is the need. So we'll look at that. Now, if you're working and your employer has more than 20 employees, well, you can stay on that coverage if you like, or you can also evaluate original Medicare. And I just had that scenario yesterday, matter of fact, where it turned out because the plan was more of a network employer plan, there were a lot of deductibles, co-insurance, co-payments, and the cost was not bad. But when we compared to original Medicare, and original Medicare cost was only $100 more a month, but it provided much more comprehensive coverage. So the client understood that, wow, this employer plan may not be the best for me. Maybe I should really consider original Medicare. So that is some of the things you talked about. Can they be in one or the other? Employer coverage is I understand employer coverage. I used to write those plans, so I really understand those coverage. And it's great, but sometimes original Medicare might be better.
Well, we just had someone write us wanting to know, is there a big price difference between the major companies versus smaller companies?
I guess we're referring to, Medicare supplemental plans. Again, for a Medicare supplemental plan, and during your initial enrollment, as we talked about, 3 months before your birthday, the month of, 3 months after, the cost will vary from carrier to carrier in your zip code. And it's based on their demographics, their claim history, for example. So the cost per carrier will vary. The costs are usually anywhere between $100 to $200. So those are the things that we will take a look at as well and educate each of the seniors understanding those cost differences. Because with Medicare supplemental, they are standardized plans. For example, a Plan G or Plan N, they are standardized plans, but each carrier will have a different cost. So we want to make sure we explain to the senior that, hey, company A and company B have different costs, but they offer the same plan. Now, I do have people that will call me because they just want certain companies for brand recognition. And then I have other seniors that say, I understand, I want to go with the lowest, the company that charges the lowest. And on the Medicare Advantage plans, again, if it's a 0 premium plan between different carriers, we're going to go in depth, look at what the costs are associated with it. What is the copay for your doctor? What is the co-insurance? What is the cost of an ambulance ride? The biggest thing is, what is the cost per diem if you go in the hospital? Because with Medicare Advantage plans, there's always going to be a per diem for the first 1 through 6 or 7 days. So we want to look at what that cost is going to be, because as we just spoke previously, that is part of your out-of-pocket cost, which a lot of seniors don't recognize. I go in a Medicare Advantage plan, I go in the hospital, you will incur a cost, and probably between $300 and $400 per day for maybe up to 6, 7, 8 days. So my first question is, how does that impact your budget? And usually the answer is a lot. So that is why, again, we talk about exposure and helping that client avoid that exposure.
I'm going to share this with people. This is about, I think, our fourth or fifth show now, and we have Steve for the next year. I got to tell you, I see he's always looking for new ideas that's going to help his customer service, that's going to help his clients. And I've never seen anybody go the extra mile the way Steven does. And I just had to brag on him about that because I'm telling you, folks, when you have an agent, you want somebody who is going to be there for you because it's okay not to understand a lot of this. Trust me, I was there. But Steven, I am just so in awe of the way you run your company.
I appreciate that. And I will say that I'm fortunate because I have some good mentors, and it's one of those things where you get into this business and you're not quite sure what to do. But when you align yourself with some really good experienced mentors, you really begin to understand more and how it works and what you need to accomplish to help people. So I'm very fortunate in that regard.
Well, your show is so good, so it means it goes by very fast. We've been running how to reach Steven on YouTube, but we have so many people on iHeart and Spotify and radio listening. Tell people how they can reach you.
Well, they can always go to our website, which is www.fromme, F-R-O-M-M-E, the letter I, the letter S.com. And they can look at our services, as well as there is a contact form on there that they can complete and hit send, and it'll come right to our database, and we'll be able to follow up with them immediately. Or they can also reach me. I see we have one of my numbers. We have quite a few numbers now, but one number we use is 908-268-2356 is one of our business lines. They can always call that as well. So.
Folks, don't try to do this yourself. I'm telling you, it's so important you get an agent like Steven. Steven will be back again with us next month, and we'll be doing our Eastern portion very soon. Thank you, Steven, so much.
Thank you.
I love doing the show with you. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you soon.
Thanks again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
It's Steven Fromme. Folks, I'm telling you, I went through this. Do not try to handle this yourself. Get a good agent like Steven. Hey, that's going to do it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.